everyone, I wanted to bring you a video, a real quick one, on how to do eggs for breakfast or brunch. So we're going to start with boiled eggs, hard boiled, soft boiled, whatever. If you have cold eggs, if you just took them out of the refrigerator, you're going to put them straight in the water and start the water to boil. If you have left them out to get at room temperature, you can boil your egg or boil your water, and once it starts boiling, add your eggs and start your timer. Mine are straight out of the refrigerator. We're just going to start the water now. And a tip I've learned with hard-boiled, soft-boiled eggs is that when you put, this is a small batch, so we're only going to put about a teaspoon of baking soda in there. When I work, I do 30 to 45 eggs at a time, and I'll put about a tablespoon in there. So we're going to go with 1 teaspoon baking soda right in the water, and we're going to let that come to a boil. Once it starts boiling, I'll give you the times on what you should be timing your eggs at. Back here, I have water that's going to start to come to a simmer so we can do poached eggs. And when you do that, you're going to add distilled white vinegar, just about a tablespoon for your water. It's going to help your egg stay together when you form it in the water instead of breaking apart. So at home, I don't have great egg pans. I have what I have. They've been used, they've been scratched. So this pan right here was nonstick at one point in time. Someone used metal on it. Who knows who. So we're going to try to season it and see if we can get a nice surface on there to do our eggs today. So we're going to take a little bit of just vegetable oil, just regular, nothing special. Take it with a paper towel. Just a nice coating on there. Not too thick, you don't want too much on there. We're going to let that pan get warm. When you crack your eggs, I would crack them into a separate bowl in case you're getting shells in there. And a trick is, if you do happen to get a little piece of shell in there, I didn't, but if you did, instead of fishing it around with your finger or a fork, which never seems to work, you'll chase it for 20 minutes, take your eggshell here that you just cracked it out of and scoop it with that, and for some reason it attracts it, and so you won't have to fish it around for so long. Okay, our pan here is warm, so we're going to take some pan spray and spray it and let that get warm as well. You want your oil to be hot too, or it might still stick. And if it does start to stick, don't panic. We always have a handy dandy rubber spatula. We'll keep that handy. If we have to scoop it around the bottom just so that we can flip it over, it's not a big deal. Okay, so into the hot pan goes the egg. For over easy eggs, I would keep it here, make sure the whole bottom forms so you see white throughout, it's not opaque anymore. I would salt and pepper it here if you would like salt and pepper. If not, then don't bother adding it. Once again, your preference. Oh look, and we did make our pan, so it's non-stick, so not a big deal. So we left that on there for maybe 10-15 seconds. Now we're going to flip it over. I like to keep swirling it in the pan just to make sure that it doesn't stick. You can just leave it setting. It shouldn't hurt it too much. For over easy eggs, they take less than a minute to cook. So we did the first side for 10 to 15 seconds. We flipped it. We've been on the second side for maybe 20 seconds. I like to reflip just to make sure that the first side got it completely. Now we're done, so we're gonna set that aside. I'm gonna go straight onto an over medium. We're gonna spray our pan again. Make sure that your oil gets warm every time. If you don't, then it's gonna stick. So our over medium egg going in the pan. Same thing, we're gonna let that set on the bottom. Make sure it all turns white, it's not opaque anymore, and then we're gonna let it set for maybe 25 to 30 seconds before we go to flip it. Our back pan back here is starting to boil, just not rapidly boiling, but it's starting. So if you were going to do soft boiled eggs and you like a runny center, I would set your timer for about 5 minutes at this point. If you would like it with a more firm center, but still soft boiled, about 7 minutes. If you want hard boiled eggs, I would not take them any further than 12 minutes. So right now, set your timer for 12 minutes, start it. Once that timer goes off, you immediately need to get it out of that hot water and into cold water or running cold water. You can add ice, but they need to cool down basically immediately. We flipped our egg. And our water back here is starting to boil. It's not firmly bringing up big bubbles, but just the ones at the bottom are starting to rise. We're going to turn that down in just a second once we see a couple big bubbles come to the top, and I'm going to show you how to do that poached egg. See, now that one did stick a little bit. Not a big deal. We're not going to introduce any water at this point. You're just going to take a towel or a paper towel and you're just going to wipe it out. See, so it just came right off. Spray again. Let it get warm. I'm going to turn my water down back here just a little bit. Over hard egg going in the pan, and depending on how over hard you want it, I usually poke the yolk at this point. It'll help it firm up more. And for the over medium, when we flipped it, we left it on the first side for about 25 to 35 seconds. On the second side, we left it for about 35 to 45 seconds, and that was it. No longer than about a minute and a half on your over medium egg. Over hard, the bottom is solidified now. We're going to be able to flip it. Let it go. So the first side, maybe 35 seconds. The second side, we're going to let it go until you almost, like you're sure that that middle is cooked. If you are putting cheese on them and you want to melt the cheese, you can always have your oven heated. Make sure that you're using a pan where the handle can go in the oven. If not, you can always just take a cover and put the cheese on it and cover it and turn the heat off, and it'll melt your cheese for you. Okay, so there's that. We've still got a nonstick surface. I'm going to slide this off over here. And I'm going to start my my poached egg in the back. So I'm going to set this off the heat for right now. We're going to turn that heat down. And for our poached egg, I'm going to crack it in to the extra bowl. You can crack into the water, but then you're risking the shells. When you go to put your egg in the water, don't just drop it straight in. Agitate your water. So stir it in like a clockwise fashion, however you want. Just stir it so that it's moving, so that the water, the egg when it goes in is going to not drop straight to the bottom, but continue to move along. And there it goes. It's not stuck. We do get a little bit of a tail on it, but it's nothing that you have to really worry about. And if it does start to stick to the bottom, take your rubber spatula and just kind of move it along. Okay, so we are going to do some sunny side eggs. So, crack this up here. Still doing good in the back, not stuck to the bottom. For our sunny eggs, here our pan's nice and warm, eggs going in. And while that's going, I'm going to scramble these in here. If you like, you can always just scramble right in the pan. I prefer when I'm doing scrambled eggs or an omelet to scramble it in a bowl. You can also add milk at this point. I usually add just a little bit of water. It stops for the whole non-dairy situation. And then give it a good come in together with a whisk or a fork, whatever you prefer. So here's our egg. Let's see. The white is not completely formed yet, but you can always take a small little lid and cover it up if you can't put your pan in the oven. I always prefer to put it in the oven, but you can't always do that with your pans. Like this one could not go in the oven. And it will burn the plastic, so don't do it if you don't know for sure that your pan can go in the oven. We're going to check on our poached egg back here. And poached eggs, once again, just like hard-boiled, are dependent upon how soft you want it. You can basically take it out right now. It's been in there for 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes maybe. I would leave it in a little bit longer. I don't really like runny whites, but that's my preference. Okay, and here is our sunny egg, all ready to go. We're going to spray our pan again. No need to wipe it out, just go for it. And the already pre-scrambled eggs go in the pan. Now, when you go to take your poached egg out of the water, you usually take a couple of paper towels and fold them up, just overlap them, and you want a slotted spoon. And you're going to fish it out of there and kind of dab it. Just dab it on the spoon, get all the excess water off. If you have to jiggle it a little bit, go for it. If you want, you put this over your salads now, your soups, your eggs Benedict, whatever you want, you're ready to go. And then this is gonna break beautifully. Maybe I'll break it for you after, who knows. Here at this point, if you want scrambled eggs, you would just agitate it and scramble them up. I'm going to attempt to get an omelet out of this. So what you do is you lift the sides and let the liquid go underneath. And just keep doing that until you've got most of the liquid kind of out of it, and you can move the whole thing as a solid. So I'm going to give that just another minute to firm up a little bit. Some people, they don't mind their omelets runny. I grew up with my mother, who is extremely afraid of runny omelets. So at this point, I would flip it. Ooh, look at that. And give the second side a little bit of a go. You could put cheese in it at this point, or whatever you'd like. If you are putting vegetables in your omelet, and you want to keep that non-stick surface, I would cook them separately. And then add them in once you put the egg in the pan, or else it's going to caramelize to the bottom of the pan and cause it to not be a non-stick surface anymore. Okay, and so when you go to take this out of the pan, you kind of just fold it over on itself. You can do the normal half fold, or you can do a third fold, so you put a third of the omelet on the pan and just flip it over itself. Along with our hard boiled, here today we have made over easy, over medium, over hard, sunnies, poached, and omelet and hard boiled. So I hope you found that educational. I hope it wasn't too disturbing, and come back for more.